Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video we're going to conclude our playthrough of the game The Siege of Cadiz 1625 from C3i Magazine, issue 38, designer Daniel Hernandez Iniesta. And we did the bay, the naval portion, so now we're going to do the tactical portion, which takes place on this map. We will need the game track, which is over here, but I need to do some setup first because, and I did some of it already in the previous video, which if you haven't watched and you want to see how we get to this point, you might want to watch that one. But basically we're going to be playing these. We're going to move from here to here, and we're going to play the siege itself, and this is called the tactical phase. And here on our sequence of play card, right? So here is all the naval stuff, and then you get to the tactical phase, and it's got its own box, as you can see. And we're going to go through these steps over and over again for 9 turns, because on our command sheet, let me remove the markers I have on here so that they don't fall off, because we don't really need them now. Here on the difficulty table, we chose medium, and all the way over here, you had to have 2 to get a landing, which they did. They had these 2 right here, which landed at Puerto del Mar. And then we have over here 9 turns that you have to hold out. So we are playing as the Spanish defenders, and we will need to hold out for 9 turns. We will track them here on the game track. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these markers from here, and then I'm just going to kind of slide this map over the top of this so we can see the game track, because that's all we'll need. And then we will reset this to 1, and we'll just have to count up to 9, which is where we actually are right now. And that will determine, or count, I think we actually stay on 9 and count down. That's how many turns we have to survive. If we can survive that long, then we will successfully have defended Cadiz, and we can go on and we would win. If not, then we lose. Okay, so I have made my adjustments here. So our allied forces here are on Puerto del Mar. We have a detachment here, which looks like this. And then we have our leader, Cecil, who was with the fleet that successfully landed. Now, the Spanish leaders were with the fleets and not in town. You could have had them in one of these boxes in the center. We did not, so we don't have a leader. So we'll have to deal with that, but our detachment is here. We do have our fortifications on the map, and we can continue to play this out. So the way it works is pretty straightforward. The first step, as indicated on here, is the mandatory tactical action, the Allied detachment advance. So the movement, we roll 1d6 and follow the arrows. Okay, so on here, 1 to 3 would move them here, 4 to 6 would move them there. So pretty straightforward. We got a 2, so they will go here. Okay, now if we had rolled a 5 or 6, they could move again. Okay, barricades, no, it would be no move, and the barricades are removed. A space with a Spanish detachment, which would be this guy right here. I can move, but I have not done so yet. That would cause a combat. Okay, so now we have optional tactical actions from the Spanish. The Spanish detachment can advance. We move and roll to follow the arrows. And extra moves, oh wait, we can roll for the extra move for them. I forgot about that because they have a leader. We do not. They rolled a 1, so no extra move for the allies here. Now for us, we would move to see where we move, and then we'd follow the arrows. If we had a leader, we could actually roll to move again. We don't have a leader. So we can deploy barricades, and I'll talk about that in a moment. And we can bombard from Cadiz fortifications, the detachment in the same zone as a fortification. Okay, which we don't have right now. And then you would have the effect on Spanish morale. Our morale is currently 16, so we want to make sure it doesn't reach 0, which is going to be tough, but we do have a shot at it. Then you have detachment recovery, and we're going to check. And if it doesn't, then we start the tactical phase all over again. So for our action this turn, we're going to place a barricade. I mentioned this before. You can have a maximum of 2. However, because we don't have a leader, that's how you would get a second one. So we can only place 1. And your morale improves by 1 every time you place one of these. So it's worth placing them. So I'm going to, now he's got a 1 to 3 would move him here. And a 4 to 6 would move him here. Now this is a space where they can bombard, I think. So we would be better off placing the barricade here, because this is also a more direct route to the center of town where our detachment is. So I'm going to put that there. That's going to give us 1 extra morale point, and that ends the, well, we roll. We have to, that ends our turn. Now we will roll, and we get a 2, and a 1 or 2 means -2 morale. So we gained 1 and we lose 2. So in net, we lost 1 that turn. Now, detachment recovery, that we don't need to worry about because we have not lost anything. We did keep our reserve points, and so did they. But the rest of these supplies, we don't get any additional supplies, so we have 1 reserve point we can use to reinforce our detachment when it takes casualties, but that is not necessary at the moment. Okay, now we're going to move this down to 8, and we're going to roll again for the allies. They get a 4 this time, so they are going to move up here. Okay, we still have our barricade there. Now, so they've moved, and now we roll. Barricade, no move. Okay, so the allied detachment has advanced. Okay, so now it's our turn. Now we've already deployed our brigade. We're going to do a bombardment with San Felipe here. That's going to cost us our reserve point. Now, if we had had these defense points, which we really could have because we had enough supplies, but you can spend a defense point or a reserve point. So we're going to spend our lone reserve point and bombard. If we roll a 5 or a 6, since this is undamaged, we would score a hit and reduce the detachment. It's a 6, thumbs up. So that reduces their detachment. And you can see on this side it says reduced. So they are now reduced, and that gives us 2 morale points. And it makes them easier to defeat as well. Okay, so now we go 1 more turn, down to 7, roll for them. They get a 4. That is going to move them here. Now this, again, I didn't mention this, but if the shapes match, that's a place they can be bombarded. The internal ones that are squares cannot be bombarded. So in this case, we've moved into another possible bombardment space. The problem being we don't have any more supplies with which to execute a bombardment. So we can now go on to our action. Oh, one other thing I forgot. We have to roll here to see it has to retreat one space as well. We roll 1d if a reduced allied detachment. Oh, okay, sorry, that's wrong. It's not already reduced, it was reduced. All right, so again, we are moving on to ours. Now I think I can place a barricade. Let me check this for a moment. Okay, so I don't think we can place the barricade. So I'm gonna roll the dice and we'll see where our detachment goes here. Actually, it's a 1 to 6 goes to the center, so they're going to go here. Now we'll roll for the allies. They got a 1, which moves them here. Then we will move our detachment. It's also 1 to 6, so they're going to go there. And the allies have a 3, which moves them here. So we'll roll again. Can we move anywhere from there? I guess we're just stuck in the center now. And I forgot to roll for the morale loss, which is a 3. And a 3 morale loss is 1. So then we're down to 16. Let me roll for the morale loss again. That's a 4. That's also 1. So we'll move that down as well. We'll go to turn 6. That's a 1. And a 1 for these guys puts them here. Okay, so we're close now. I don't think there's really anything I can do, to be honest. It's an optional tactical, so we don't really have anything we can do. So we're just going to roll for the effects on morale. We got a 3. That is again going to be a 1 morale loss. We go to turn 5. 1 to 6, they're going to attack the detachment. It's a 6, so they are going to be in here. And now we have combat. All right, here's a look at the land combat table. Step 1, determine land combat strength. Spanish player 4 if it's at full strength, which it is. The Allies 6 if it's landed at full strength. It did, but it's now at reduced strength. So I guess it landed at full, so we'll use 6. Subtract Spanish from Allied to be a 4. Then we get +1 for Spanish leaders, none. Also none because we don't have anything to spend. They're going to get a -2 on the roll for Cecil being the landing force leader. And they can use an assault point or a reserve point. So they do have a reserve point, so they may as well use it. So they're going to have a -3 total. Now we're going to roll. And our differential is less than 0, so they are going to win, basically. Right? So it's a 1, which, of course, is A. So that would be... the defeated attachment suffers attrition. Flip the detachment to its reduced side. So we will flip the Spanish to the reduced side. And then I think they have to withdraw Spanish detachment to the space of the initial zone at the Spanish player's discretion. So we're going to move to B. Okay, now we're going to, so after we've done land combat, we would get our actions, which I think we could try to move. If we did, we move back in there. Let's do it. Let's go for it. So going back in, and we're going to fight again. So now we do the same thing, except this time our force is reduced, so it's 3. Theirs is, I think it should be 5. So since I gave them the benefit last time, I'm going to give myself benefit this time. It's still going to be a -2. So it's still going to be less than 0. It really doesn't matter. And then they get a -2, and they can spend their last reserve point. And because I could not spend mine to... Actually, they could have spent theirs to reinforce themselves, but I guess it doesn't matter now. We're going to resolve land combat. So basically, it's going to be another... oh, wait a minute. A is the Allies. Land force differential is less than 0. So I think that's an A, right? Less than 0. Oh, the die roll less than 0. That's the problem. All right, let me rethink what I did before. What did I roll? I rolled a 1, I think, which would have still been A, which is the Allies. So they would have taken attrition, not me. And they would have had to retreat. And they would, to any space, adjust. Okay, so we would choose. So they'll go there. We are not reduced. And they take, Cecil leaves, which prevents them from taking a, to prevent suffering attrition. The Allied side permanently withdraws the leader of a fleet, okay, which increases Spanish morale by 1 or 2 if the eliminated leader was Edward Cecil, which it is. So we get 2 morale. Now we roll for morale. We got a 5 that time. And a 3 to 5 is reduced by 1. So we go back to 15. We go to 4. And we roll again for them. And they're going to come back in and attack again, which is what I would have expected. Now we have a strength of 4, and they have a strength of 5. So that's a -1 differential. And now we roll. Oh, that's the Allies win. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, I take that all back. I was right the first time. All right, so that's still there. They still have him. They're reduced. We're reduced. We're going into attack. Okay, so now we're 3. They're 5. It's still going to be a negative differential of -2. Okay, so land force differential, I guess, is 2. So we're in this column, but we have to roll down, I guess. Subtract, oh yeah, subtract from the Allies, so it is a 2. So it's a 2, right? Because we have 3, they have 5, it's 2. So we're going to roll, it's a 6. Now we get a -2, and yes, and -1 is a -3. So that 6 becomes a 3, which is the Spanish win. So they will move, and now they will lose Cecil, and they will retreat here. And we would win and stay there. Okay, so since we won, we got 2 points. And we roll, we got a 5, so that's going to go down to 16. We go to 3. We try again. They're going to move back in, as we expected. Now this time, the difference again is going to be 2. And we're going to get a minus, no minus. It's actually just a 2. It's a 5, and a 5 is again a Spanish win. 5, Spanish win. So they will retreat again. We will get a victory point, or morale point rather. We go to 2 and roll for morale. That's a 3, which again is going to be a -1, right? That's the wrong way, right there. Okay, now again, we know it's going to be a move in and attack. And we will now roll again. It's the same, so we're in the 2 column, no modifiers. It's a 4, and a 4 is going to be an S again, so they're going to lose again. And we are going to move up 1. And the turn will go here, and let's see what our morale does. It's a 4, that's a -1. Okay, last turn. If we survive this, we will have won the game. So they're going to come in attack. Then we know the difference is 2, and there is no DRM. We got a 3 that time. Now a 3 is an A/S, and when it's what it says here, for that, I saw it, where is it? Oh, it's treated at S if there's a Spanish leader in the center, otherwise treated as A. Okay, so we're going to take, a loss. Spanish was already reduce Spanish morale by 4. So that's going to go down to 12, and then we roll for 2, that's going to be 2 more, so now we're down to 10. But even though we lost, we've survived enough turns for the game to be over, so we win. So I made some mistakes there in reading that, but I'm going to leave them in the video so you can see that and see how I catch it and then fix it, since the video is relatively short anyway. So that is going to do it. The game is complete. I hope this gave you an idea, this one and the other one, of how the game plays, and I hope I played it mostly correctly. But yeah, that's it. So quick shout out to my channel members. Thank you for your support. It is greatly appreciated. But we are done for now. If you have any questions, comments, you can post them in the comment section. If you would like to consider liking, sharing, hyping, or subscribing, that would be awesome. If you are already a subscriber, thank you. I appreciate it. But we're done. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.